Hey Chaotic Crew, Brian here. We have got another Commander Mystery Booster deck tech here for you. And before I get too much into this, I want to let you know this episode is brought to you by Mana Pool. It's a fast-growing marketplace for Magic the Gathering that makes buying and selling cards easy. Their optimizer helps you get the best value in buying cards, and the team is focused on making it a great experience for buyers and sellers alike. Big shout out to Mana Pool for helping out the channel. Make sure to check out their affiliate link in the description below if you want any of the cards in this deck tech. But on this episode of Chaotic Deck Techs, we have 5-color angels, and a fun story here. One of my best friends has always had a 5-color angel commander deck. It's had many different commanders over the years. At one point, we even let him rule 0 Maelstrom Archangel as the commander, which is a really fun card in itself. But finally, in Commander Mystery Booster, there is an angel that is a legendary creature that will let you play angels in 5 colors. And that, of course, is Seluma, Light of Aysen. Seluma is a 5-mana 4/4 angel with Rule Breaker. A deck with this commander can have angel cards of any color identity and any basic land cards. So, really cool 5-color angels here. We'll get to that in a second. It also has flying, and whenever Seluma deals combat damage to a player, return target angel from your graveyard to the battlefield. So, interesting card here. And you think about it, 5-color angels, you think that's a really amazing deck, but this is really just a fair way to print any kind of 5-color Kindred deck, is to have these rule breaker cards. It's really not as good as you might think, because sure, you can have angels of any color identity, but you cannot have non-basic lands that get you those colors. You cannot have instants or sorceries or enchantments or anything outside of white, right? So I think this is a really smart way to design this card. I don't think this deck is going to be a great deck. It's not going to be the best deck or the best angel deck for that matter, right? It is just going to be a fun way to be able to play 5-color angels. And because Seluma does care about getting angels out of your graveyard, we are definitely trying to play with a bit of a theme to get your angels into the graveyard. So let's go over the cards we are going to be playing. Now, most of the deck is going to be white, and that just has to do with the fact that most of the cards have to be white that aren't creatures, but even angels will typically have some white in them. So this is a very white-heavy deck. And going over the angels, there are a lot of really powerful ones. You'll notice that a lot of them are over 4 mana value. And that's going to be tough. So we want ways to make our angels cheaper and cast quicker. We want ways to ramp, and we want ways to get them into the graveyard. And that is really what this deck is trying to do here. Angel of Despair, 7 mana, 5/5 flying angel. When it enters, destroy target permanent. It's a great card here. It's an Orzhov, but of course it works really great here. Probably one of the best cards of the deck is Angel of Suffering, because whenever you get dealt damage, you're milling twice that many cards and preventing that damage. So this is a fantastic card to have on the battlefield that is going to do exactly what your commander wants you to do, right? Which is fill your graveyard. Angel of the Ruins is also fantastic because it puts itself in the graveyard to get you a plains, and then you can have it enter with your commander's ability and exile 2 artifacts or enchantments. Really great there. Archangel of Thune is just a way to buff your board of angels and get you some lifelink. Very strong. Atraxa, Praetor's Voice. There's also a bit of a sub-theme of counters in this deck, right? Archangel of Thune's going to be putting counters on our creatures. There are a bunch of other cards that are going to be dealing with counters. Atraxa is great there. It can also... We don't really run it for the proliferate. It's just a flying vigilance, death touch, lifelink. It's a fantastic angel to have in a 5-color angel deck. Aurelia the Law Above is fantastic because we get to draw plenty of cards, right? This is going to draw you a couple cards. And then if you have multiple angels in the battlefield, you can also draw cards with it. So very good there. Also a way to burn your opponents and gain some life as well. Aurelia the War Leader is going to double your combats, and that's important because your commander does care about dealing combat damage. So I gotta have Aurelia the War Leader in there. Avacyn Angel of Hope is just a classic angel, and yeah, having all your stuff be indestructible, fantastic. Battle Angels of Tyr is really great. because it can draw you cards, it can make you treasures, which are kind of ramp. It can also gain you life, which isn't as good as the other ones, but typically because our mana intensive deck is so expensive, you know, we might have more cards in our hand than one or two of our opponents, so pretty good there. We are running Bruna and Gisela, right, and it kind of plays into it as well. Casting Bruna returns an angel or human from your graveyard to the battlefield. And then Gisela, it just has keywords, and then obviously the meld into Brizella is really strong too. Amaria Shepherd plays into the theme because it's getting creatures either back into our hand, or if we're playing planes, right, we're returning them to the battlefield, so that's really good. Ethereal Valkyrie is actually really great in this deck, just because it is going to make our angels cost 2 less. It's going to make all of our cards cost 2 less, that we foretell, but very strong card here, and as an angel, fits in very well. Exemplar of Light is a 3/3 flyer. Whenever you gain life, it gets a +1/+1 counter. Whenever you put one or more +1/+1 counters on it, draw a card. This triggers only once each turn. This isn't amazing, right? This is very situational card draw. Sure, there are a good amount of angels that gain you life, so this is not bad to have in the deck. But if you don't have a way to gain life, you're not putting counters on it. If you're not putting counters on it, you're not drawing cards. So it's a bit of a situational mess, but it is an angel who draws cards, and this deck can kind of run out of gas, so I thought that would be helpful. Giada Font of Hope is currently the best angel commander out there, and for good reason. It's going to make your angels enter with additional +1/+1 counters, and it's also a mana dork for angels, so really good there. Gisela Blade of Gold Knight is a fantastic card as well, doubling up the damage you deal your opponents take and preventing half of the damage that you would take, and your creatures, of course. Herald of War is fantastic. It works really well in the Giada deck, right? But Herald of War is just good because it's going to make your angel spells cost less for each +1/+1 counter on it, and it can continuously get counters on it. I put Inspiring Overseer in here. It is an angel, and it is just a quick way to have it enter, gain 1 life, draw a card. It's a good chump blocker, so really an easy card to throw into your graveyard pretty quickly, and then have your commander get it back out, draw a card, gain life. There are worse things to do. We have Janara, Ashura of War, which is a Bant angel that loves +1/+1 counters. So again, we have a decent amount of +1/+1 counters. It seems that we have a couple sub themes here, right? Angels is the main theme. We've got +1/+1 counters, and we have, right, the graveyard synergy, and so that is nice. Kalia of the Vast is pretty unique, right? Whenever Kalia of the Vast attacks an opponent, you put an angel, demon, or dragon from your hand on the battlefield, tapped and attacking. I just realized that Kalia is not an angel, but it's so good that she gets angels out, and we do have a couple cards that care about humans as well, so it is something to keep in mind. But yeah, that is very good to know and important, even though she has the wings, right? Lyra Dawnbringer is fantastic, gives our angels +1/+1 in lifelink, and also has First Strike, just a very strong card there. Maelstrom Archangel, which is really the poster child for 5-color angels. Whenever it deals damage to a player, you may play a non-land card from your hand without paying its mana cost. So kind of similar to Kalia of getting out these free creatures, right? Having more cards like this is really nice, especially in a deck that has a lot of expensive creatures. We have Metropolis Angel. Whenever you attack with 1 or more creatures with counters on them, you draw a card. So again, caring about that counter synergy. Righteous Valkyrie is great. It's going to gain you lots of life, and it can buff your whole board. So just a good cheap angel to have. Rodolph Dustbringer also cares about returning creatures with mana value extra less from your graveyard to the battlefield, or extra the amount of life you gained. And himself has lifelink, so yeah, and he gets indestructible. Shalai can put counters on your whole team, also gives stuff hexproof. Sigarda gives your stuff hexproof as well. You can cast angel spells and your Kalia, right, since it's a human. We have Sephara, Sky's Blade, which is similar to the Avacyn, but also just really good. Shalai and Halar cares about counters as well, so very good there. Starnheim Aspirant is going to make your angels cost 2 less. The Queen of Dale is another human that's also good to have, and we have a 3rd human. I didn't realize we had 3 humans in the deck. Queen of Dale is fantastic because we're going to be recruiting, which means we're drawing and discarding. We like to discard our creatures, so we're likely going to get those 1/1 blockers, which can be nice. Stoic Angel is another Bant Angel that is going to make it so that your opponents can't untap many creatures, which is going to be pretty nice effect to have on the battlefield. A lot of our angels have vigilance, and so that is a great way to make sure that we have, I say a lot, apparently none of the ones I'm looking at have vigilance. There we go, Brazella, aka Bruna, has vigilance, and maybe that's it. Amazon has vigilance, Aurelia has vigilance. Okay, so this could be helpful with vigilance, but it makes it so that if you play Stoic Angel on a turn where your opponents have swung out or something, it makes it harder for them to play blockers. So I like Stoic Angel for that reason. We also have Weeping Angel from the Doctor Who set, which is a 3-mana 2/2 flash, first strike, also vigilance, so that's good there. Whenever an opponent casts a creature spell, Weeping Angel isn't a creature until end of turn, so not great to have this sitting on the battlefield, but it could be helpful in that case. Typically, you're going to flash this in, deal combat damage to a creature by blocking it, prevent the damage that it would deal to Weeping Angel, and then it shovels it back into your library. And what's great is that if this gets removed, you can just get it back with your commander. So yeah, very cool. A card that you don't want to be discarding typically, you want to keep in your hand, but just strong nonetheless. And they're running Witch Enchanter. It's an MDFC. You can get rid of artifacts and enchantments. Just good to have. We're running Cut a Deal for some card draw. Descend upon the Sinful and Starfall Invocation for board wipes. This is just pretty, for a deck that cares about the graveyard and cares about angels, Descend upon the Sinful is a very strong card here. And then Starfall Invocation also is going to be destroying all creatures. And then if we have a really strong creature that we want to put back on the battlefield, then Starfall Invocation is what we need to do. Chroma's Will is going to win the game. Angel's Grace is going to keep us from losing the game. We've got Dawn's Truce and Restoration Magic for some protection, as well as Clever Concealment. And then Generous Gift, Stroke of Midnight, Path to Exile for some more spot removal. So not a lot of spot removal here. Typically, that's okay, right? There are some angels who care more about spot removal. Really, the idea, we have a couple things, like Weeping Angel, we have the Angel of Despair, we have Angel of the Ruins for artifacts and enchantments. So there's some of that, but just having big angels is pretty good to have. And then we do have a few things if we need it. Now, 16 artifacts is a good amount. Collector's Vault and Daily Bugle newspaper are ways to draw a card, discard a card, and make treasure tokens. So it's ramping us. It is, or I guess semi-ramp. It is filling our graveyard with angels. It is doing everything that we want it to do. So these two cards are really great in this deck. We're also running Key to the City, which is another fantastic card in here because you will discard a card by tapping this to make a creature unblockable. So say you don't have anything in the graveyard, and you have your commander out, and you play this, you can discard a card, put it in the graveyard, and attack with your commander, deal damage, and then get that card back out from your graveyard. So really, really strong. And then, this is a mana-intensive deck, and if we have a lot of mana, you can pay the 2 mana to draw an extra card. We've also got Herald's Horn and Gathering Stone to not only give us some card advantage, but also make our angels cost 1 less. Gathering Stone, interestingly enough, surveils cards at the beginning of our upkeep, which can put cards into the graveyard. So really love that, while Herald's Horn more so just takes a look at the top, and then we can potentially add it to our hand. So, very good. Laser Screwdriver is a mana rock that I thought I would add. It can add a 1 mana of any color, which is great for what we need, right? Speaking of, cards like Arcane Signet and Command Tower are not going to work here because our commander is only a white commander. So Arcane Signet would only tap for white. So we really need these mana rocks to tap for any color. So that's why we have Felwar Stone, which is actually going to be really useful here. And Laser Screwdriver is the next one. The reason I added this one, it's a 3 mana rock, so you can get your commander out a turn early with this. But it can also surveil, right? Or goad creature, which is nice. But typically, you're going to use this for mana or surveil and get stuff in the graveyard. We've also got Matsalantli, the Great Door, to get stuff in the graveyard. And then eventually you can transform this to get you a lot of mana. But yeah, mainly just a way to keep looting. Lightning Greaves and Swift Boots are in the deck. And that's just a good way to protect your commander, but also to haste your commander out, right? You want your commander to have haste when it enters, so it can get something for free out of your graveyard. Pearl Medallion is a way to cheapen your white spells. We've also got Pillar of Origins, though, that we're obviously going to choose angels, and we're going to be able to And we're also going to be able to use that mana to cast Angels. Patrick Banner, naming Angels as well. We're going to buff them up. Stone Speaker Crystal is some graveyard hate. Also draws us a card. Wayfarer Bauble is also another good ramp spell in here that can get us any of our basic lands. And then I put Pyre of Heroes in here too. We have a good amount of different mana value Angels. I will say we got a couple of 4-drops. There's a couple 3-drops. Right, there's a couple 5-drops, there's a couple 6-drops, there's a couple 7-drops, and then of course you have Aysen at 8, which is probably one of the best cards you can get. Safara is also great at 7. Yeah, if you're getting to 7 or 8, I don't know if there's any 6-mana ones you want to sacrifice, but that's part of why I added cards like Inspiring Overseer and Weeping Angel, which we don't mind dying, right? Stoic Angel, I don't mind if that dies. We can bring it back potentially. And what we're able to do is Metropolis Angel too, able to sacrifice them and get better angels out on the battlefield for it. So I love that. And of course, we are running a few enchantments. Gleaming Splendor, a new one that is very strong, giving us treasure tokens, having, us draw more cards. We can politic with this. It's really strong. Monologue Tax also going to get us treasures and help ramp us. And then Elspeth is some spot removal that also reanimates something, so I thought that would be really strong here. And then the lands are interesting, right? Because we can run any amount of any basics. I decided to do 3 of each type. If you look at the stats here in the deck, we've got 11, 11, 9, 9%, so you don't really need a lot. I like having 3 of each because your hand is not going to get filled with these. That is that is literally a third of your land base is just these other basics. The other third is plains, and then you have everything else, right, which is your utility. Path of Ancestry, Unclaimed Territory, Secluded Courtyard, and Cavern of Souls all tap for any mana of any color for angel spells. We've got Fabled Passage, Evolving Wilds, Escape Tunnel, Ash Barrens, Vibrant Cityscape, and Terramorphic Expanse to search out these basic lands, right? Seraph Sanctuary gains you some life here, and then we also have the Emeria Skyroom to potentially get stuff from our graveyard in the battlefield, so there is that. And yeah, that's the deck right there. Let's do a little bit of a playtest, because I want to show you that this deck seems a bit clunky, but is actually pretty fun. 1-landers, though, not fun. 2, 3-landers are better. All right, we'll take this one, and I'm going to Unclaimed Territory, I guess, first. We do draw a Swamp, which is nice. And then turn 3, we have some pretty expensive cards in our hand. So obviously Monologue Tax. Turn 3 is going to be the turn where people are going to cast their second spell. If we're going last in this rotation, this sucks for us. But because we're so far behind, I don't think people are going to mind casting 2 spells. So I'm going to say we're going to make at least 1 treasure. At least 1. Which means we can cast our commander the following turn if we want to. We can also cast, we're 1 color away from Maelstrom Archangel. We could do Shalai. We could do Stone Speaker Crystal. I don't hate that. Set us up for a future turn. We draw Dawn's Truce, which is interesting, right? And we could potentially, if we got 2 treasures, we could definitely cast Maelstrom Archangel, and I like that. Right now, though, right, we just 1, 2, 3, 4 for Stone Speaker Crystal, and hold up. We're probably not a threat unless someone is in a game. If you're playing against somebody who's in a game-winning position right now, this is not the deck for you, right? This is a pretty slow, casual deck. I really love this second hand. The first hand was okay, but it was a little bit slow. I think this is a little more accelerated. So we will draw. We're going to play this Seraph Sanctuary. We're going to gain life because of it. Turn 2, we get Evolving Wilds, which I don't love. I'm going to play Plains. I'm going to play Pillar of Origins, Naming Angels. And that sucks. We will be doing some of these shenanigans. Next we'll do Generous Gift, and we will get the Swamp. We'll play the Exemplar of Light, and that is nice. And then what we can do next turn, we do not draw the land, so unfortunately we have 2 Evolving Wilds. So that was a risk. We could have Evolving Wilds first and then played the land, and then we could have done Angel of Suffering or Lyra Dawnbringer. And now we're kind of in this weird position where we can't really do a whole lot. We do have a generous gift open though, as far as answers go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play another Plains because we can. Alright, and then let's say we use the generous gift and we go to the next turn. Angel's Grace is not amazing, I'm not gonna lie. We don't have a lot going on here, so probably what we do, depending on the situation, right? But I like Lyra Dawnbringer, gain some life, get a +1/+1 counter on this, draw a card. We do get a Plains, we can play it for turn and go from there. And yeah, I think not bad, not great. Again, this isn't going to be your most competitive deck, but it's fun to play 5-color Angels. This is a deck that's built for very casual groups, so I hope you enjoyed it. This is another good hand, right? We'll eventually get to draw cards, we can board wipe, and then we can start playing our big Angels. I think that's a good spot to be in, with Collector's Vault to discard some cards too. So I think that's not a bad spot. This is a fun deck. Let me know what you would put in, let me know what you would take out. All these rule breaker commanders, as I've been building them in my spare time, I'm realizing they're not really as strong as they initially come off. So something to keep in mind, but I think that's a good thing, right? But anyways, like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel so you see more of this mystery booster content and other spoiler deck techs as we arrive there. And otherwise, have a good week. I'll see you next time. Bye.